What's up, gentlemen?
It's Troy Reedy in the house. He's Troy Reedy. And he's ready.
Why are you wearing a Chivas jersey?
Oh, come on. Why?
Oh.
Well, you'll notice Ben's not wearing any Timbers gear either.
Hello, everyone. This is Rev Brad, and you're listening to the Soccer Chaplains United podcast, From the Touchline. That little snippet is an indicator that today's episode is either going to be the biggest waste of time you've ever had listening to a podcast or a lot of fun. I'd like to believe it's the latter for sure. Today on the pod, Portland Timbers co-chaplains join me as we lament our teams being out of the MLS playoffs. We take a look back at the 2023 season and some of the things our clubs went through. Troy plays his first crosses with Rev, which goes horribly wrong, and Ben writes a new song or two with the power of AI. It's all right here, and the fun begins right after this.
He's found the space, and he's found the back of the net.
Just a little off foot, thinking he's going to go far post. Not strong enough with his right hand.
Whips that one in. Far post, almost made him ends, and they have. He has the hat-trick. The second in his career. The third of the night. The hat-trick hero.
Talked about you're not going to be able to sustain that kind of pressure.
To the corner. Goes towards the near post. And you're the angle, and what a goal! What a goal!
Well, I want to welcome to the podcast today co-chaplains of the Portland Timbers, Ben Dudley and Troy Reedy. Guys, thanks for being on the pod, and it's a sad day. Both of our teams. There's no one to root for right now on the pod of the Soccer Chaplains United Major League Soccer teams. We're all out of the playoffs. It's sad.
You don't root for any teams that are not your own? I mean,
I do, but come on. I mean,
okay, so who are you pulling for now?
Nashville.
Okay.
Nashville. What about in the West?
Okay, in the West. Well, if Carlos was on the call, it would be San Jose, but he's not on the call, so I don't know. LAFC?
Oh, man.
Who are you guys rooting for?
You
Seattle.
Barely got that out.
Seattle. Oh, boy. I know you just said that.
Why won't it be Seattle?
I know who it is from. Why won't it be Seattle?
It will never be Seattle.
I want a Seattle third kit. Have you seen their third kit this year? It's fun.
The Jimi Hendrix
Bruce Lee one?
Oh,
the Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
What are you? What? No.
Hiya!
No. It's terrible.
What's the
Ben,
Timbers
who are
third
you
kit?
rooting
It's
for?
like Pink Roses or something.
Yes, it is,
yeah.
and people love that one.
They do, but it's retired now. It's gone 2 seasons. So
Really?
we'll get a new one this year, yeah.
Get a new one. Well,
We a new one and a new jersey sponsor. 13 seasons with Alaska Airlines is coming to an end.
Now you're going to get
who's the
Spirit
new-
Airlines?
So I mean, for me, I'm probably gonna.
Wait, hold on. Who's the new sponsor? See, I don't.
They haven't announced
They
it.
haven't
yet.
announced.
Spirit
They're gonna
Airlines.
announce it probably when they launch the new jersey. So I'm guessing like.
Well, I'll announce it here first. Ladies and gentlemen, the new sponsor of the Portland Timbers is Soccer Chaplains United.
Yes!
Oh my goodness. We know that wouldn't fly. Although we do have a good logo. I love our logo. It's cool.
It is.
All right.
It's not
We're
like a
cheering for it.
Chivas logo. Why are you wearing that, Troy? I'm still like, folks, you can't see Troy Reedy, but he is wearing a Chivas top. Maybe actually this is prophetic, Troy. We have not talked about this, but our hope for the next few years is to start growing chaplains into the Mexican leagues. And Troy, ¿cómo está? ¿Habla español? Un poquito? Un más?
Poquito.
Ben, how about you?
I did buy. I have on my collegiate team 80% Spanish speakers, and I used to be a decent Spanish speaker until we moved to Tajikistan, which pushed out most of.
They don't
most
speak
of the
Spanish in Tajikistan.
They do not. So I purchased Babbel over the summer, and I was making progress, but then, yeah, the chaos of my season has stifled that. So.
Folks, what Troy is talking about is not the Portland Timbers at this moment. It's Warner Pacific Men's Soccer, who, let's just look at the standings here real quick.
Oh, boy.
Well, come on. You guys are sitting at what? 10-3-2? I mean,
10-3-2. Yeah.
Not a season of perfection.
No, we've been back-to-back conference champions. It will be almost impossible to win a third straight. But if we win our last two, we'll finish second and be set up for the tournament and possibly nationals again. So, yeah, we're in a good spot. And that is why I'm wearing a Chivas shirt. Is one of our players from last year who was an All-American, was identified within the Chivas system and signed a contract down there with their U21, U23 team. So I'm sporting the kit on his behalf.
That's cool. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a testament of your coaching ability there.
I love that you're doing that. Well, folks, before we jumped on, Ben Dudley had a brilliant idea. He said, let's get the crosses with Rev with Troy. Let's do that first so that he's not warmed up with his sort of vocality and his mentality. And so we are going to, I usually reserve this towards the end, but let's do it now. And I think this is what people tune in for anyway. So,
I mean, who's winning right now, Brad? Of all the ones you've done,
Ben, you're winning.
I thought so.
25 points. You have the leaderboard. You have the advantage.
Just so you know, Troy is the kind of guy who, if he decides he's gonna start playing ping pong, then he trains 7 days a week, joins a ping pong club, travels to China, takes lessons, and comes back and he beats everybody in ping pong. If he decides he's going to start playing pickleball, he becomes a world champion. If he decides he's going to start singing, he does voice lessons and does vocal exercises in his car every day. He has to be the best at everything, and he tends to be the best at everything.
And yet he's not.
Yet he beats me at everything we do.
Okay, this is not true.
I have zero expectations that Troy's not going to beat me at this, because he's beaten me at everything else. But if I do win, then there's going to be a party.
I think, Ben, in some ways you are setting yourself up to retain the leaderboard advantage that you've had over the rest of the chaplains.
By making him go first?
Yeah, or doing it early here in the pod.
I kind of want to get it over with because I don't want to think about it.
Oh, you are nervous. You're nervous.
No, not nervous. Just kind of, when you know it's just not going to go your way, you just know it.
Ben, we've been friends for long enough. You know that it's impossible for me without qualifying questions to just rapid fire. So I will be very slow. You will retain your first place position unless I just say something for the sake of. All right, I'll do my best.
You're the best.
So Troy, the game crosses with Rev. You've heard it before, right? So you know some of the questions. One.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know some of the questions. I kind of know how it goes.
Yeah, there's some stock anchor kind of questions that are in here. There's an either or, and sometimes I might ask something to stump you. You can say pass. You won't get points for that question. There's also a short answer. So if I start to say something and you don't have to wait for me to finish. You can just jump in and answer. There's no politeness. This is about points. This is about speed, and it's about having fun. If I don't get through all my questions, and I've gotten criticism that maybe some of my questions are a little too long, but I think I have some good questions here as I've thought through this. Okay. You get 1 minute. We add the sound effects later, so the whole stopwatch, whistle. I won't start the timer though until I've completed the first question, so that gives you a little bit of a head start. And then if I get into the question before the whistle blows, before the 1 minute's up, you still get a chance to answer. It's almost like injury time, extra time. Okay?
Got it.
Speed is the key. And Ben, Ben sitting on the sidelines here is yes.
Yeah, I'm going to close my eyes because I can see him. He's going to be making funny
No,
faces at me.
come on.
Yeah.
All right. Do you feel ready, Troy? Do you want to warm up? No warm up. I shouldn't. Okay. So here we go. First question, Troy. Crosses with Rev. Left-footed or right-footed?
Left-footed.
My favorite EPL team is?
Everton.
Dribble, pass, or shoot?
I'm dribbler.
Call or text?
Call.
Dry fly only or dry and nymph?
Dry fly only.
A-League or MLS?
MLS.
Acoustic or electric?
Acoustic.
Nike or Adidas? Nike or Adidas?
Oh, you there?
Oh, we lost
froze.
you. Oh, it froze. What do we
Hold on.
do?
What do we do?
Okay, it came back. I think
Nike.
I was like 5 seconds in, so I think I have 55 seconds left. Okay,
man.
pick up the last one. The last one you asked was acoustic or electric.
Okay,
And I
Nike or
said
Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
My favorite post-game meal is?
Thai food.
Spokane Shadow or Cascade Surge?
This is hilarious. Of course, his
It
internet was
froze
froze.
again. That's all right. Now we're 7 seconds in.
Wow. Wow.
Time
Way to
is up. What is going on with the internet there
yeah.
in Oregon? It's bad.
It's probably just at the university. I don't know.
Troy,
I don't think I got through 25. It was bad, huh?
no, and you've been disqualified for poor internet. So, but I'm going to ask these questions anyway.
Okay.
Spokane Shadow or Cascade Surge?
Spokane Shadow.
Tajikistan or Norway?
Tajikistan.
Brad or Ben?
Boy. Did you ask Ben this one?
No.
No, his next time he plays, it's going to be
This
tough.
is where it's like, okay, I'm running through every scenario.
Just say pass.
Okay, pass is
Troy,
easy.
Troy.
I guess.
It's Ben every time. Come on.
Okay.
He hesitated, Ben. I'm going to take
chaplaincy
that.
with every. Come on.
I'm going to take that as a positive.
Well, okay, if it's Ben every time, then I think what I just heard is what I had in my mind. Who's going to be our biggest donor? And so, yeah, I'll say Ben. I'll say, yeah, thank you.
This is sad. I really wanted this game to go well. I don't know.
Ruined it or the internet ruined it.
The internet ruined it. Yeah, I don't know, Ben. Should we wait 5 more minutes and maybe Oregon will pay its internet bill or Warner will?
Nope.
No.
The rules.
All right. All right. Valeri or Nagby?
He's frozen again.
Yeah, and he's frozen. Even oh my gosh. Valeri or Nagby?
Am I back?
You're back.
This is the worst podcast ever.
I know.
Let's re-record it. No.
You said Valeri or Nagby? Valeri. Oh man, I like them both.
Timbers or Sounders?
Timbers.
Really? You have history with the Sounders.
His history with the Timbers.
You always bring this up. My history with the Sounders is so ministerial.
He was going to say
It's not even worth ministerial.
Oh, yeah, you're at a rescue mission for Seattle. 4-4-2 or 4-3-3?
4-4-2 in a midfield diamond though.
I was about to say Troy plays a totally different deal than that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a choice, you know.
We shifted. We're at our
3-5-2-1, right?
1-3-5-2.
Oh,
yeah. Unless you want to play, maybe that's the new thing, to play a goalkeeper above the front runners. See, this is okay. Ben or Brad? It's Ben because he's just a tactical genius. Sorry, Brad.
Gosh. Coffee or tea? Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
NCAA Sweet 16 or Cascade Conference Coach of the Year?
I don't get that question.
What's better for you? Like, it's always the team.
I was thinking basketball. Sweet
Soccer
16.
Chaplains United. Didn't you make it to the Sweet 16 in NCAA in college?
University of Washington? I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Okay.
Troy,
Mm-hmm.
Going away from today, you're going to do some homework. You're going to look at your life story, and you're going to figure out what were the highlights, what were the other moments that you like. Okay, last question. Honest answer here. Who's better at ping pong, you or Ben?
I'm sorry, that is an easy one right now. It is me.
Who won it?
And I haven't cashed in on my. Oh yes, I did cash in on my meal, didn't I?
Yeah, I took you out that day.
Okay, thank you for that.
Oh,
well, man,
Troy,
I knew I'd be bad, but I didn't
I'm going to have to come up with a different game.
Would be worse.
What position did you play on the field, Troy? Because that was the slowest crosses with Rev game I've ever played. And internet aside, are you sure you played soccer?
Yes. I'm methodical. I actually was quite quick. I don't know about sheer raw speed. That's why I played as a left winger. If I knew what I knew then, what I know now, I would have converted myself to a left back. So,
and why is that?
Because I defend well and can serve balls in and but for the next level up, even though I was quick enough to bypass players as a winger, you need then just a next level raw speed that I didn't have. And that's probably, you can increase your speed to some capacity, but it's kind of one of those things. You either got it or you don't. So
I got it. All right. Well, Troy, your official
namely Dudley's ping pong game. You either got it or you don't.
To be with you guys in preseason.
He's got it. It's just not good enough.
To be with you guys in preseason.
It's one of those it's the talent thing. I have the talent, I've just buried it right now, and so if I don't practice, and then I'm not going to be good. And when you go against Troy, who practices 3 hours a day,
ooh,
some of us have jobs, Brad.
Boy.
Ooh, that's tough. Troy, your official score is going to be 13, which means you have a lot of room for improvement.
That's almost half of what Ben got.
What did I should have done a bet before. What do I win?
I think you guys owe me You guys owe me bacon spread from Tabor.
If the internet was not a big enough issue, my computer battery is almost about to die, in which case I'll try to recall on the phone. There may be one other issue.
If I was listening to this
I'm
podcast,
a mess.
We've just lost all the listeners that we accrued over the past year who have enjoyed these things. They're like, this is so lame. 3 guys. Their teams aren't even in the playoffs.
you got nothing to talk about.
So last night, I don't know, does Portland do this? Rapids they have an event called the Burgundy Affair. So we were at it last night.
We don't have a Burgundy Affair.
Well, a Verde Affair? No, that would be Austin. No, so it's like the year-end gala banquet awards. And several people that I talked to were like, Rev, why do we do awards? Why? This is just, it hurts. There's nothing to celebrate. With a little bit of the mood and tone. Although I disagree for, theological reasons and others, but there are things to celebrate. But I don't know. does Timbers, do they have a year-end celebration or kind of event?
Yeah, traditionally there's been they call it the Stand Together banquet, and it really has always been based around honoring the team and the season, but also the work that's been done in the community to support the community.
Yeah.
And it's a fundraiser for the Stand Together community work and for the grants program that they do. And Troy and I have gone a couple times, and it's been fun. And it's always more fun on the years when the team wins than when we don't make playoffs. But
yeah, same for Rapids. It's a fundraiser for Kroenke Charities. It's they have a silent auction. They highlight things done in the community. But guys, let's dive into our teams a little bit, and maybe if one of the other chaplains joins us, great. But if not, Portland, Colorado, we had similar kind of seasons. In some ways, we both went through a coaching change. We both missed out on playoffs. You guys just right at the end. Our season was done a few weeks ago. But let's talk a little bit. Looking back, do you guys have any highlights yourself of, hey, this season, these were some things that were great. Like, you just can't take it away, and we want to celebrate it. And maybe they're a little bit more personal or to the ministry side for us. And I shared this maybe on a podcast with the MLS Next Pro guys, but for us, we had a front office study, and we had a combined team study that we did. We went through the entire Gospel of John, 21 chapters, and into 1 John. We got up, we're doing chapter 5, finishing up with front office this week. So, I mean, literally for 28, 29 weeks, we've been meeting, and that was a highlight for us, for me especially. A lot of work, just prepping every week for that and getting up to the stadium, but it was really great. And for us, there was a bit of a community feel that I think since before COVID hasn't existed. And we actually had a member of our Bible study with the staff training for an Ironman. He got hit by a car, was in hospital, and just there was this come together moment. And I think back to in fact that this thing happened, I think just as we were playing, I want to say it was LAFC, that he got hit. And we get the call, the chaplains got the call, our R2 chaplain got it actually, and then we just responded. We're at hospital, most of the teams on the road, and it was like one of those moments when, because of what happened to this person, sort of our humanity, just like coming around someone. I love the stand together kind of idea. Like the club, we have an ethos here called One Club, and it was like one of those moments in the season where season's poor, head coach got fired a few weeks later, but everyone kind of came around this person who went through a difficulty, and it felt really great to be able to serve him, his family, to serve the club, to liaise with the club communication-wise and otherwise. And even though, like, it seems weird that someone's pain or difficulty is a highlight, last night we're at the banquet. He's literally walking around 8 weeks later. They had to do some cleanup surgery, but he's healing. He's healing. He just started rerunning and training for, whenever he can do the Ironman next. And I just go, wow, the goodness of God. What a blessing and a highlight to see to see these things happen. And there's some other things that have gone on this year, but those two things stand out for me. I'm curious for you guys, what anything stand out for you guys just from this season?
Thanks for sharing that, Brad. That's awesome. I think so much of the work that we do is one, just being available and showing up, and that every year, as you're aware, looks a little bit different. So a lot of the core guys that we had been meeting with and had some established rhythms have moved on by way of being traded to other teams or retiring. And so this year I feel like was more just the long term game of being around enough and slowly building relationships of trust to then kind of move things to the next phase. So it was limited with first team players. There was a group of Timbers 2 players that we had influence with. And then I think what was unique about this year, actually, beyond others, was that there's some relationships within the coaching staff, both on the first team staff as well as Timbers 2, one with a former player that was part of our kind of group, and then another, and being able to, oftentimes it would be meeting with players at a certain time, and then there'd be a window to pour in and kind of come alongside some coaches. And so that was a highlight. Just, you never know really what the season's going to look like, but you're faithful with who the Lord has. And even, you're well aware of a scenario with, one of the coaches within the Rapids organization, Rapids 2, that had a family loss, and his older brother is really, the main mentor of my coaching development, but I also know him. And so when he visited Portland, was able just to make a touch point with him that I thought was neat, along with the Rapids 2 players. And, this would be a plug is the wrong word, but I lost my father about 6 or 7 years ago, completely unexpectedly. And from then until now, I can't tell. It's probably close to 10 different individuals, whether, coaching staff for the Timbers or players, that have lost their fathers, and able to then walk alongside of them. And one resource, is a book called A Grace Disguised, that, that's just been, I think meets people in moments of what is called catastrophic loss. So whether that's the loss of family, or it could be the loss of, you pursued something your entire life and your career's coming to an end, that marks the death of something. And anyways, that's a side note, but again, that was a resource in particular with the Rapids 2 coach that I was able to offer, and hopefully bring,
it's so interesting. It's so interesting too, Troy, that you mentioned that, because I think some people get wrapped up in the allure or the pro sport thing, and we don't realize that there's stuff going on behind the scenes that we never think about. The loss of a loved one, the injury or the accident that might have happened, or just coming, as you said, to the end of a stage, end of a chapter, end of a career. And you never know what day or game moment might be your last. And so just what a godsend that you're able to speak into this person's life, from your own experience too, from your own pain, from your own way that you've been able to be redeemed and restored out of that. And I want to transition a little bit, because Ben, here you are on the sidelines, and Ben, I love the work you're doing right now. You even said this in a recent post. You talked about your beginning of your career in music being such an instrumental, no pun intended, piece of that. And now the work you're doing now, outside of Timbers, there's a redemptive thread to that. So yeah, Ben, tell us maybe a little bit about what you're doing now, but also too, what redemptive threads have you seen this year in your work with Timbers?
Yeah. I run a nonprofit called Free Guitars for Kids, and if you can figure out what that means, we give guitars to kids for free. And it's been amazing. Like, it's, music is a big part of my life, as it is with a lot. Like, I'm not unique in that. Like, music's a big part of a lot of people's lives. And I just, But I love music. I mean, it just inspires me. I can't be in a restaurant, and if the music's on, I can't not be listening and being like, oh, you hear that song? You like that song? You remember that song? And everybody's like, what music? Like, it's just such a thread for me. And it's funny because for the last 13 years since we've moved to Portland, in some ways music kind of took a back seat because I've always loved sports, and I was a rec major in college and just really believe we were created to create. But I think a part of that is like our play and the way we interact, and I think that's a part of our creative thing and a part of our leisure. Like, we were created to rest, and I think part of resting is engaging and playing and having fun and just being together and in community. And I think that's so my story, if you will, like kind of in college, I was a musician and played in bands and did stuff, but I also was a rec major and learning about all like the theology behind play. And while I'm out there playing guitar, I was also playing sports and whatever. So I pastored for a long time, but then when I moved to Portland, I got real involved. I became the chaplain for the Timbers, and then I started doing after-school soccer programs in schools, and it turned into this big nonprofit. And then I joined another sports nonprofit called Positive Coaching Alliance. So I did like U.S. Soccer Foundation, Soccer for Success. I did America Scores. I did Positive Coaching Alliance. And I was doing all the stuff with sports and doing chaplain work. But the guitar and the music side of it was kind of on the back burner, other than I just played at church. Well, about a year and a half ago, I was approached by a friend, and he asked if I had any interest in running the nonprofit Free Guitars for Kids. And it was just like this, I don't know, like, it was like putting fuel on a dead fire, because it was just like this thing ignited in me of like, oh my gosh, like, yes, like I not only want to do that, I feel like I have to do that. Like, I have to go do this. This is the culmination of my gifts and the hard work of the last 13 years of learning about nonprofits, and then bringing back this part of me where I feel more whole in who I am, and how I serve people and give to people. I've seen like God do this work in me to be able to come back and be able to give people a gift. And it's all about we're a generosity organization. We give people things, like, and the way God has given to me, I want to give to others, and without any strings attached. It's like, no, I'm here to give and to serve. And I think that's the way Troy and I, and Brad, I think you as well, like, approach chaplaincy. It's about generosity, right? Like, we go and we just give. We're here, we serve you. We're not asking for anything. We are giving to you because somebody loved us and we want to love you, right? So that's what's happening with me with music. But it's funny, one of the redemptive things this season is kind of a funny story. So, gosh, it was probably like 8 years ago, and maybe it wasn't quite that long, because 2018 is the year we played it in Atlanta in the final, right, Troy?
Yes.
And then the next year was when Zarek came, or did Zarek?
No, he was there.
He was there.
He came. Yeah. He came the year after we won it, so he came.
Okay,
like
so he came in 2016. Okay, so like in 2016 or 2017, I think it was 2016. We were playing music a lot. Troy and I would go to preseason, and we'd be and like one of the Timbers sideline reporters, her name was Samantha. She was like really intrigued by the fact that we played guitar, and Zarek had a ukulele, and Diego Valeri would play, and she loved that. And so she wanted to do this story about us doing music, and so we did this whole thing where we go to this recording studio, and it's me and Troy with Zarek and Valeri and Milano, and we're playing, and we sing the songs that the Timbers Army sing.
Wow.
In the match. So they sing I Can't Help But Falling in Love with You, the Elvis song. They sing that at the 81st minute of every match, I think. And then at the 77th minute, I think, they sing You Are My Sunshine to honor Timber Jim, the original guy that
cut the log.
Cut the log and did the chainsaw. His daughter passed away, and it was her favorite song, and it's a way to honor and like him. So that those two songs they sing every match. So when we were getting together, like, let's play those two songs. So they made this cool video of us like sitting around for like 5 minutes or so, like singing these songs and playing. But then it was like a weird point in the season, and they put it up, and they ended up, I think the video was online for like an hour. And I don't know all the backstory of why it got taken down, but they decided we need to take this down. We're not going to show this video. So this footage gets buried for a long time. So then this season, they honored Valeri, like Ring of Honor. He retired. We're gonna put his name on the wall, and it's like his special deal. And before the match, we're standing down in the concourse where Troy and I always stand, and we greet the players and whatever. And Timber Joey walks up. And he's like, "Oh, the man of the hour!" And he's like pointing at me, and I'm kind of like, "Does he think I'm Valeri? Like, what is he talking about? The man of the hour?" And he's like. And I'm kind of like, he's like, "Oh, man, you're going to be signing autographs later." And I'm like, "Joey, like, am I supposed to be somewhere? Did I miss a note? Do I need to go home and change? Like, what is going on?" He's like, "Oh, just pay attention at halftime. They might have uncovered some old footage or whatever." So halftime starts, and, we're kind of sitting there. And then, like, they're getting ready to do the big Valeri Ring of Honor thing. And then... So they put up a video, and it's the video. They unearthed the video footage of me and Troy sitting with the guys, singing "Can't Help But Falling in Love with You" or whatever, the Elvis song, and they play the whole thing on the jumbotron in front of 24,000 people.
Wow!
Of us sitting there singing this song and like playing as a way to like start the Valeri induction into the Hall of Fame, and it was just really cool. Like it was. I think the redemptive part of it was like, it was just cool to see like this guy, Valeri, who he's such an amazing person on and off the field, but he really is a genuine person. But like, it was kind of a reflection of this season's been hard. We haven't had a lot of the opportunity to have the deeper relationships and stuff. And there's been times where I'm like, man, why am I still doing this? Like nobody comes and like, is this worth our time and whatever, you just have those moments of doubt. But then to see that, like, we have over the past 13 years had genuine, relationships with people and influence in people, and God's used us, all of the chaplains across the league. He uses us in ways we never know.
Yeah.
And there's really magical moments that happen, and it was just like an honoring thing to see that footage and be like, wow, like. That really happened. That's not just a figment of my imagination. It's a testimony that, there's this song and this thread that lives in us and goes through us, and we get to share that with others. And it was a way for us to share that testimony with the stadium and with the world. It was, I don't know, it was really cool. It was powerful.
Wow. Well, yeah, I think you said so many things there, Ben, that I
ramble.
No, I'm like, I could jump over here. I could talk about this, or let's go here. But I'm curious for you guys, and you guys are much more gifted at this, but is there a song that encapsulates the 2023 season for Timbers? Is there something that you guys would say, man, this just speaks to where we've been, where we're going? Because there's still some uncertainty. I know our former head coach was interviewing for your guys' open slot, and your guys' former head coach, his name got thrown into our mix with one of the stages of interviewing. And, it's interesting. Troy had made some comments, but the interconnectedness of this industry, this community, is amazing. It's interesting how, Troy, your own coaching tree and pedigree comes through someone that's here in Colorado and his family, and like all these things people don't realize, but the work we do, and it sometimes is seed sown that gets buried.
Sure.
But then, Ben, as you said so beautifully, when it comes to life in a moment, and you get a little moment of validation for the work you've put in, or the place where you stood in a gap and you didn't know if you could. I don't know. Is there something that comes to mind, and it feels like these are words that sort of describe where we've been and maybe where we're going?
I see Ben with a smile on his face. You
No,
must. You look like you're on the side, like Googling different songs. Or
I know.
I mean,
all these funny things keep coming to my head. I'm like, I can't say that. Can't say that. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was honestly the not making the playoffs. That was a hard game. To know the struggles of the season, but then to see the guys rally toward the end and really make a run, and then to miss it. So it hurt, and so I think of like that Trent Reznor 9 Inch Nails song that Johnny Cash did, called "Hurt." Like, I don't know, I was like, that one hurt, like, yeah. And then you got the Dolly Parton, "I Will Always Love You," and I will always love you. It's like, no matter what, I'm a Timbers fan. I'm always there.
Yeah. Yeah, someone within the Rapids organization said for us, it feels like the tale of two seasons. Mm-hmm. And going back, the year started January 5, and I've just seen so many people feel so exhausted. That there's emotion that goes into this game, and then you add in the investment that so many people make. And I'm really talking about staff here too, because they're the ones that are kind of behind the scenes. They don't make the same kind of wage. They don't get the same kind of attention or glory or accolades or kudos. And you come to this point of the year, and it's just like, we can take a breath now. And even I was talking to one of the staffers, and he's like, "Oh, I can finally take the foot off the gas." And I said, "Do we have a head coaching announcement to make soon?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot about that." And so there's this sense of which, in some ways, there is no off season. In some ways, do you guys feel that at all?
Well, there's a sense of an off season for us, because, there's still players around, but it certainly feels like things slow down. But I know what you're saying. Especially for staff and management, and there's no off season, and really, and then professional athletes you can't just shut things down. You're in many ways, you're keeping your body at full tilt. So,
well, and you guys have even more in Portland because
cutting out.
You guys have more in Portland because you've got the Thorns, you've got Academy, you've got T2. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with the Portland organization, the Timbers and Thorns together. Does that, some people kind of struggle sometimes with there's just no off switch. There's no downtime. Do you sense that, Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely. I don't know what's going to happen this offseason with it being like not making the playoffs, and how like there will be a longer technically off season, but there's so much work to do, because we don't have a coach, and so there's just going to be a lot that happens. And I think that's the nature of professional sports is. It's a year-round, 7-day-a-week thing, and I don't think most people realize how hard and grueling it is to be in that industry. And I know a lot of people that love sports and they want to work in sports because they love sports. And I'm kind of like, if you want to watch the game, you don't want to work in sports, like because you're too busy working that day, but. I don't know. Like, that's just some of the negative stuff. But, like, it's a year-round deal. And being a professional, the best at anything. If you want to be the best at anything, whether it be music or sports or anything, it's like there's no days off.
Yeah, for sure. Sure.
I like your question. Yeah, it's a neat way to frame the question, Brad, about a song lyric, and I didn't think of one off the top of my head, but I figured this is probably a song lyric or the name of a song somewhere, and if not, then I'll write a song about it.
Yeah.
But where do we go? Where do we go from here? And this is unprecedented for the club to miss the playoffs 2 years in a row. And so, lots of, I think there wasn't a ton of turnover after last year's miss. I think that the assumption is there will be more, from player side, some will be the decision of players, people like Diego Char, who I'm sure the club would want back, but how many more years does he want to play?
Yeah.
And so, that you can, I guess what I'm saying is I'm anticipating a lot more changes, both, obviously where they go with the coaching decision, but also players. And I suppose you can hear that lyric in two ways. It can be hopeless, like, oh, where do we go from here? To where it's like kind of a downer, or you dig your feet in a little bit and say, all right, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here to get back to, one of the elite clubs, teams in the Western Conference, and making push for another MLS Cup.
Brad, we've talked about this on another podcast, but you bring up a good point, Troy, and I think it's something we need to talk about. So, I'm sure you've covered the Messi effect on other podcasts you've done, because that's probably something you talk about a lot, right? Messi's impact on MLS. And I just watched the David Beckham documentaries, and I was fascinated to think back on, when he came to the league, the state of the league when he came in, and how much of an impact his coming really did have on the league. And you just see teams investing more and more and more money, and players are getting better and better. And the Timbers, we've had success. We've won the MLS's back. We've been in the finals 3 times. We have a championship. We've made the playoffs more than we've missed the playoffs. However, we've never been that team that's just been dominant, where we run the table or have, I don't think we've ever even had over 50 points in a season. Maybe. I'd be shocked if we've gotten over 50 points in a season. So, we do it the hard way, and we kind of catch fire at the end, which can work in MLS. But we've also missed the playoffs the last 2 years in a row in the final game by not getting a win, right? So when Troy's saying, where do we go from here? Are we going to continue to be that club that relies on, finding guys that you can get a lot out of with not having to invest a lot of money, and we just kind of get lucky and find the hardworking guys and put together the kind of these magic runs? Or are we going to have to step up and splash some cash and actually, because the rest of the league's going to do that, and are we going to be left behind? Or are we going to continue to play this role of we're okay with where we are, and we're just going to keep fighting and try to kind of make runs? It's just, I don't have an answer, but I think we're going to get to a point where I don't think it's going to keep working. And I mean, 2 years in a row now where it hasn't worked. We've missed out. And I think we got some tough decisions this offseason as for the Timbers to decide, is it going to be more of the same, or are we going to actually do it different? Which could involve I use this term and people are always what does that mean? But like the fire sale. Have you ever heard that term?
Yeah, for
mean,
sure.
Is that the point we're at, where it's like, no, we got to kind of clean house and
start over
and like really build it a different way? Or are we like, no, this is our DNA of how we operate our club, and we're gonna, because we're on a new GM this year, and so a GM, I think it takes longer than one season for them to really have an impact, right? Like everything that happened when he took over was already in motion for a lot of it. So he hasn't really been able to put his thumbprint on what's going on, right? So how is Ned going to run the Timbers? It's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that too, because, just even here in Colorado, we had our own controversial kind of piece or moment where the fans, one of our supporter sections walked out of the stadium, left banners behind that said the badge, the players, the fans deserve better. Yeah. And, there's a sentiment towards ownership, maybe towards club leadership that, the Rapids haven't done enough, or the organization hasn't done enough to stay up with where they see the rest of the league, the other teams spending and doing things. And it doesn't take much. You walk into a newer stadium, you go visit one of these newer teams, you're in one of these different cities, and certainly the environment feels very different. I think, to Troy's question, where do we go from here? I've noticed that in my time as a chaplain, one of the things that my responsibility to do is to help bring some stability, some sense of, being at peace. Now, some might criticize and say, well, is that just calling people toward maybe mediocrity and not excellence? Is that maintaining a status quo? Maybe you could make an argument that way. I think that, though, in the spaces where I've been speaking to players or staff, there's always this encouragement that God calls us to give our best, to do our best, but that his acceptance of us is never down to the results, which is not what the world says, and especially not what this industry says. A coach doesn't do well, as our team did this year, the coach gets fired. But when we put our identity into those things, I think that becomes a bit of a struggle. And so I think this where do we go from here line, Troy, that you mentioned, we become the guides for helping to encourage, not necessarily in saying, here's the answer, this is where you go, but in maybe asking that question thoughtfully and seeking a source for the answer or for the direction. I think back to the Israelite nation moving through the wilderness, and it was a pillar of smoke during the day and a thing of fire at night that guided a people. They didn't know where they were going, but if they kept their eyes focused on what was leading them, ultimately God, then they knew that they would be safe. They would be taken to the right place at the right time. And I think that becomes one of the things Troy, I love your question here. Where do we go from here? Because my own thing was coming up with this sense, this line of living in a land between. And as even with people that their jobs aren't necessarily affected by a coaching change and transition, it touches kind of everyone. And so, I'm watching coaching staff who they're not sure if they have a job next year. I'm watching players who are maybe going to be out of favor, out of contract, out of many different things. They won't be in the coach's good graces anymore because the new person that comes in isn't the one who brought them. And so there's a lot of people right now, at least with Rapids, that it feels like there's this sense of uncertainty. And what can we place our hope in, our trust? What can we have? Where can we have assurance and certainty? Of course, for me, it's faith. But I think in leading people who are asking that question, where do we go? Where do we go from here? Realizing that we do live in a land between, And I'm not trying to be cheesy in wrapping this up, but we do, Ben, as you said, there's a sense of we express love to them. And that, I think, when someone knows they're loved, they're seen, it makes a massive difference in being able to come into work the next day, even if results or a season hasn't gone, showing up in an awards banquet and still celebrating what we can celebrate, the work done in a community or the strides made on and off the field. And I think that we don't want to lose sight of all the things that God is doing because we look at a score line or we look at standings and a playoff line. So, well, that was long-winded, but yeah.
No, it's so true.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're wrapping it up here. I'm curious. We're out of the playoffs. Who are you guys rooting for? Who do you want to see in MLS Cup?
It's always fun to see players that we've worked with that have left the team and gone to other teams. So I'll be pulling for Houston.
Okay.
Because of Steve.
Steve Clark, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, and they won U.S. Open Cup.
They did.
So,
they're a good team.
Yeah.
They're fun. Yeah. They really had a game plan. And, yeah, they stuck to it, I thought.
That's awesome.
If you would have been the tactician, though, and we would have had our goalkeeper in front of those front runners, that could have been the turnaround. Yeah, I agree. I'm for the Western Conference. I'm cheering for Houston, and I really like the way that Columbus plays as well. So Houston, Columbus would be a neat one.
All right. We'll take that. You guys know my heart is with Nashville.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say the other thing for me is, like, because of the work I do with Soccer Chaplains United, I go to these different cities. So we're doing a lot of work in Nashville. So I like Nashville. I like Gary. You know, I know he was in Colorado, and you guys have a good partnership, friendship.
Yeah.
Austin's out. That we do work there. We do work in San Jose, but I don't know. I can't find myself rooting for them. Although I do like Jeremy. He played for us.
Yeah. Yeah, and the coaching staff with San Jose are former Colorado guys. I mean, that's just my problem from being around too long. I mean,
you just know too many people.
We have coaching staff with Salt Lake, and I think I told them I might be rooting for them a little bit. I forget though, because I don't think I'll have to edit that out. I don't think I'm allowed to. They're our rival. Although their fans unfurled a banner and they said our rivalry deserves better, and I was like, I don't know, is that a sign of support or is that a dig? It kind of felt like both.
Right,
a little bit of both.
So who do you want Nashville to play? Do you cheering for anyone on the East?
Well, Nashville is in the East.
Oh, East. Okay.
Yeah. It's good.
The West.
Good that you're a chaplain at MLS.
Yeah.
Well, they were in the West.
They
were. They flip-flop.
They do.
Yeah. And again, I just, Cincinnati has people that were with Colorado. Orlando does. So I'm there's some Charlotte folks that used to be with Rapid. So, yeah, I root for people. I really root for people.
Yeah.
But I want to see Nashville win. I don't know what you guys thought about Leagues Cup. I really enjoyed Leagues Cup, and I thought I was kind of hopeful that Nashville would win Leagues Cup. So, hey, maybe take MLS Cup as a consolation prize. But, I'm excited to hopefully see Nashville in there. Guys, let's do this. Ben, I see you're prepping. You got a song for us?
I do. I was just thinking, Troy said, if there's not a song called Where Do We Go From Here, maybe we could write one. And you guys ever heard of this thing called Chat GPT?
You just wrote a song in 30 seconds based on Troy's line?
I did. I typed in, you're going to love this, it's hilarious. I typed in, write a song called Where Do We Go From Here, and have it talk about a soccer team trying to find its path forward.
Wow.
This folks, for the first time ever, Ben Dudley on guitar and harmonica. Where do we go from
Who knows
here?
how this is going to turn out? Here we go. In a world of dreams, we played our game on the soccer field. We built our name. This is terrible.
I'm into it.
But the seasons change and the stars, they fade. Now we're left wandering in this endless cascade. Ooh, cascade like Cascadia. You like that?
Yeah, like that.
Where do we go from here? Under the floodlights that glow in this beautiful game, where our hearts overflow. It's terrible. Oh, we'll find our way through sweat and tears. This soccer team with dreams beyond our years.
Folks,
Yeah.
the one and only Ben Dudley with Where Do We Go From Here?
I'm not sure that one's going platinum, Ben.
Pretty sure it's not.
However, I have to say, like, that's pretty amazing to just impromptu on a podcast where millions are tuning in. Throw yourself out there. That's like, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed by that.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't even know if
these come out better than that one did. Maybe
What's
I'll
that?
try one more time.
Yeah, redemptive threads, right? Well, guys, let's wrap it up. Let's pray for our clubs as we enter into the off quote unquote season, and pray for the team still playing and the players still playing, and let's just wrap it there, and maybe ChatGPT can give us one more shot at where do we go from here while we're praying away. Troy, why don't you start, Ben, and then I'll close us up, and then that'll let Ben warm up his voice for shot number 2 at our song.
You're gonna have to just cut that whole first one. That was terrible.
No, we're keeping it. Troy, why don't you lead us with lead out with a prayer?
All right. Father, thank you for the joy of just some time together talking, the joy of celebrating the season behind and the different ways that you were at work. And though certainly for those of us on this call with the results not going the way that either club would have desired, Lord, the ability, as Brad alluded to still celebrate, Lord, you on the move, the redemptive threads, the ways we've been able to show up and listen and stand with and walk alongside of players and staff and front office. And Lord, thank you, Lord, for the joy of serving, Lord, in a world where so much of what is inputted is get what you can get, take what you can. Lord, there's a different way, and fulfillment and life to the full is often through service. And so help us in this off season to continue to serve in the avenues that you would have, in the gaps in the conversations where we could be a voice. And may we be guided, Lord, by the one who knows the end from the beginning and is good and is faithful. And so, I pray your blessing upon the Timbers and the Rapids, Lord, and certainly the team still competing, Lord, and those that serve and are part of those clubs as well.
And God, just want to echo those things. And as we walk alongside of people living in a land between two places, a land between slavery and promise, a land between a past and a future, a land between where maybe we don't know our way and we're asking that question, where do we go from here? May we be faithful to keep walking alongside. May we see the redemptive threads where we discover and uncover songs, a song within us, a song for us, a song for people, so that we can experience your joy, your truth, your love, your grace, your light for our lives. And I just thank you for the work that Ben and Troy are doing in Portland. I thank you for the work that Callie's doing with San Jose. I thank you for the work Greg's doing with Nashville SC. Thank you for my work and Kevin with Rapids, and Lord, for the other chaplains and sports ministry groups that have people serving in different and difficult places. Lord, just lead us and guide us through this time. And ultimately, may we point to you. Thank you for these moments. Thank you for these friends, these co-laborers able to be on this pod today. And I just pray a blessing for them, for their families, and for this next part of the year as we get into it. Jesus, we ask this in your name. Amen.
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 You got something, Ben? You got another song?
Oh,
We'll try it better this time. Let's see. In a world of dreams, we play our game. On the soccer field, we built our name. But the seasons change and the stars they fade. Now we're left wandering in this endless cascade.
Woo! Loving it.
It's already better. I can feel it. Oh, where do we go from here? Under the floodlights glow in this beautiful game where our hearts overflow. We'll find our way through sweat and tears. The soccer team with dreams beyond the years. Beyond the years.
Woo! You've been listening to Ben Dudley, Troy Reedy, and Brad Kenney coming to you from the touchline. Sweet, bro.
Later, man.
That's
Hey,
going
good
platinum.
times.
That's
is
going platinum.
I had to channel my inner 13-year-old punk rock self to pull that off.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. And we need to attach your Sunday song to this podcast somehow.
Hey, you know what's a cool song? Oh, this podcast is supposed to be over. Do y'all watch Welcome to Wrexham?
Oof. I haven't seen it yet. I've seen like episode 1.
Yeah. Last year they used a Buddy Holly song as their theme song or whatever.
Right.
But then they got an official song for their title.
Huh.
It's cool. It's really good.
Yeah. Check that out.
Check it out.
Well,
It's
I might
good.
need a new song for the podcast too, Ben. I'm liking this.
Oh, you need a
punk rock.
You need a new podcast song.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. So,
Wait, Troy.
all right.
We got something to do in the
Yeah.
off season now.